Welcome everyone to our Monday night shiur, our first shiur of the Elul Zman. Elul, Ani ledodi, vedodi li. We all know the famous drasha. Our shiur before we begin is sponsored. The Zivug Agun, to the Hashem Yirah, our Torah should be the Zivug Agun, and Neriah Shalom ben Reuven, Hashem Yishlach lo et bat zugo, ובנים, בנות, יזכה לפרוט ולרבות, אמן כן יהי רצון. So, tonight, I want to speak about something very interesting, a Gemara. We're going to learn a piece of Gemara inside. I hope it's going to be interesting to you guys. And before I begin the Gemara, I got to tell you an interesting halakha. You know, this coming year is the Shemitah year. And also in the Shemitah year, we talked about on Shabbat that in the Shemitah year, the sabbatical year, all the earth in Eretz Israel, it rests. That means no farmer could work the land in the Shemitah year, correct? Correct. Also, because of that, if anybody here does this, which I give a suggestion to all single men to do this, instead of being up till 1, 2 in the morning on your phones checking other people's statuses, which will give you nothing in your life, do at midnight something called Tikkun hatsot. Tikkun hatsot is a special tefillah brought down by the Kadmonim. Even before the Ariyah Kadosh, the Zohar talks about Tikkun hatsot. It was instituted by the Chachamim during the Chorban Beit HaMikdash to be said every midnight. Right now, midnight is very late. I think it's the latest of the year. It's 1:01. And when we sit on the floor by the mezuzah and we say over there 2 tikkunim. One is called Tikkun Rachel, one is called Tikkun Leah. Rachel and Leah. Kabutabi, it's as if Rachel and Leah, our mothers, are crying in Shamayim every midnight that they're far away from their children. Am Yisrael is distanced from our parents, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the Shekhinah Kedosha. The Shekhinah, God's divine presence, is represented by our 2 mothers, Rachel and Leah. And the Mekubalim say, to say Tikkun Chatzot is a very big sigula, number 1 for Parnasah, and number 2 for Zivug Agun. So whoever is already up at 1 in the morning, instead of going on Netflix, which it's totally garbage, and it could be a Isur d'Oraita to go on that, instead of going on that, sit down, do Tikkun Chatzot. If you can't fall asleep, I guarantee you, in 2 minutes you'll be out cold, you'll be out. When you're on the thing, you could be on till 3, your eyes want to close. No, I have to put it up another 3 more minutes. But when you're going to sit down and open the book, you're going to fall asleep.
What's higher?
Huh?
What's higher, Tikkun Matzot or Slichot?
This is what I was getting to. What's higher? Tomorrow, we're going to start Selichot. Tonight. But really, the real Selichot, guys, we're starting Chodesh Elul, the real Selichot, for Sfaradim at least, our minhag, as brought down, is to be said, the highest Selichot is to be said Be'ashmoret HaBoker. Not at 7 in the morning, not at 8 in the morning, not at 9 in the morning, not in Mincha time, for sure not in Aravi time. For sure not in Aravi time. And not even at midnight. The main Tikkun Chatzot is to be said right before dawn. And not Tikkun Chatzot, Selichot. And something called Ashmoret HaBoker. Ashmoret HaBoker. Ashmoret HaBoker is the darkest moment of the night. Right before dawn, there's a moment called Ashmoret HaBoker, and that moment is the second where all the Klal Yisrael's tefillot are going up at that moment. Because at midnight, they descend into deep inside what we call the klipa, the impure forces. Deep inside. That's why 6 days a week we work. We go down inside the klipa, inside the impure forces. We take out the kedusha on Shabbat. We rest. There is no berur. There is no selecting. That's why you can't do borer on Shabbat. Because on Shabbat, we don't select. There's no good and bad on Shabbat. Everything is good. Everything is good. No questions. Now, what's higher? Slichot, on Selichot, we say 4 times Ve'avor. Ve'avor Amonai al panav ve'ikra Amonai Amonai. These 13 attributes. And I explained to you guys in the beginning of the year, these 13 attributes, they descend into this world and they materialize as what in the human body? As what?
Midot.
As the midot? And your body, they turn into something physical. What are they? Guys don't remember the shiurim, huh? What am I speaking to?
What's the question?
The 13 attributes, Amonai, Kel, Rachum, Vechanun, they come down into this world and they materialize on the man's body, not on the woman's, on the man's. What are they? The beard. The beard, the zakan. The zakan, the Zohar calls the 13 attributes of mercy, it calls it yak tikkunei dikna, the 13 pieces of your beard, 13 parts of your beard. For a man, it's very important to grow a beard, not half a beard, the whole thing. It's very important to grow a beard. The beard signifies the mercy of a man. A man has the ability to lead, right? Because we're very theoretical. We're very patient. We could look at all the pieces of the puzzle. Women, when they're in charge, they get very fanatic. They get very extreme. They get very liberal. They get very, all the way down to the far end. When a man, he could stay in the center. That center comes from the koach of the Yad Tikkunei Dikna. Now, why do we say that in the Omer in the Selichot? I'm going to teach you guys a very big secret now. You're not going to hear this anywhere. Right now, as we're talking, you see this, I have this book over here. This is the book. I'm sharing this with you guys. This is a book of Selichot. This is a special Selichot book. This is the Selichot of the Rashash. This is the Selichot of Elul Shalom Gadaev, the Rashash HaKadosh. You understand? Now I just want to show you one kavanah when we say V'ya'avor from the Rashash. Just one kavanah. This is just when you say V'ya'avor Hashem al panav. That's it. Wow. This is just V'ya'avor Hashem al panav. This is it. I mean, this is just 4 words. V'ya'avor Hashem al panav. You understand? You know what's going on when you're saying V'ya'avor Hashem al panav? You know what you're bringing down from Shamayim? You're breaking worlds. You're bringing down Kedusha. You're bringing down Shefa. When are you supposed to do this? In the deepest time of the night. In the darkest moment of the night. In Ashmoret Haboker. Now, if you miss Ashmoret Haboker, then you can say it before Shacharit. But what happens when you say Slichot at Mincha time? You could say, I don't wanna, how you say, turn you guys, there's a better word for it. I don't want to discourage you guys. You should say in Mincha time, not Arabi time. Some people say, there's a Rav Ovadia. Rav Ovadia, for the Pshat, if it's morning in Israel, and it's night over here, you can say Slichot at night. We don't do this kind of stuff. You understand? But for us, if you say Slichot at Mincha time, it's not so good. Why it's not so good? From the Kabbalah, from the secrets of the Torah. Mincha time is a time of deep din. It's not a time where you could take out the chesed. You understand? It's not a time to say Slichot. Slichot has to be done in the time of utmost mercy. In Ashmoret Haboker, in the moment of the night where everything is about to turn into morning. You understand? Now Tikkun hatsot, what's his name? Gabriel, which we say in the night, the Tikkun Chatzot, when we sit down and mourn the Chorban Meta. Is there Ve'avor over there? Ve'avor, there's no Ve'avors over there. What do we say in Tikkun Chatzot? You have to sit down, you have to cry, and you have to say Al Narod Bavel, Sham Yashavnu Gam Bakit. Like Tisha, it's basically like Tisha B'Av. It's Tehillim, it's parts of the Echa, parts of Jeremiah, understand? It's like a small Tisha B'Av. It's like a small Tisha B'Av. Every day, every minute, except on Shabbat. Not on Shabbat and Yom Tov. Every day. Now look what the Mekubalim say. The Ari HaKadosh. If a person has a choice, if I'm going to say Tikkun Chatzot, but I'm going to miss Selichot. Because if I'm going to say Tikkun Chatzot at 1 a.m., I'm not going to wake up 5:45 in the morning. No, today, the best time to say Selichot would be 3:30. Because dawn is about 4:10. So Ashmoret Haboker is about 3:30. That's the best time to say Selichot. Understand? No, I don't think there's no minyanim. So imagine you're up at 1 a.m., you're doing Tikkun Hatzot, you're crying over Hashem, and before you know it, it's already 3 in the morning. You gotta go to work, you got this, that. It's either you do Selichot or you do Tikkun Hatzot. Which one should you do? On one hand, you have the Vayavor Hashem al Panav. You have the crying to bring down the shefa. Look at all these kavanot over here. Amonai, Kel, Rachum, V'Chanun. All these things, the 13 attributes of mercy. On the other hand, you have a mourning for the Beit HaMikdash. There's no V'yavor over there. Huh? What? Huh? But even something that's more common, when you have something that's, how you say, it comes once a year, it should take precedence. It comes once a year. Right? What do you think the Mekubalim say? What does the halacha say? The chida. You have to do Tikkun Chatzot. Yeah. Tikkun Chatzot is above Slichot. Why is Tikkun Chatzot above Slichot? You know why? It's a very big lesson. When a person goes to Slichot, What is he going there for?
Singing.
He likes the music. Let's be honest. Anenu Elohei Avra. You know, you get into the mood, the high holidays, everything's there, you know what I'm saying? You think so much beautiful things, you know, you get into the mood, it's so beautiful. The woman likes to come to Slichot, it makes them in the mood, you know? So there is something over there, how you say, it's for yourself. It's not 100%, it's 99% to Hashem, 1% for you. Hashem said, it's either all for me or it's nothing. When you do Tikkun hatsot, you sit down and you have to break your will. That's more of a preparation for Rosh Hashanah. It's more of a preparation. Do Tikkun hatsot, then it's to say still. Now let's say you're not going to do Tikkun hatsot, then obviously you should do selichot. Obviously you should do selichot. Now let's say you're a Talmid Chacham. Now I'm going to tell you something even bigger. Let's say you're a Talmid Chacham. Talmid Chacham, I just want to let you know, maybe some people know science. A person, he burns carbs the most when he uses what part of his body? The brain. The brain. Do you know you burn more calories when you think and when you actually work out? You understand? The brain, it uses a lot of energy. It needs to think, you need a lot of energy. Says Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul, look at this crazy chidush. Rav Ben Zion was asked a question. He said, Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul was the chavruta of Chacham Ovadia Yosef. He said to him, they asked him, what should a Ben Torah do? If he's going to do Tikkun Chatzot, Salichot, he's going to miss learning Torah. Why? He's going to be up at 5 in the morning. Now he needs to rest. He's using up a lot of energy. He's not going to learn Torah the best. You know what Rabbi Zion Abba Shaul says? He should skip the Salichot, he should skip the Tikkun Chatzot, and he should sleep well, and he should learn Torah. Talmud Torah, Keneged Kulam Gabriel. Guys, we have to graduate from, it's very nice, inspirational speeches and mashalim, but at the end of the day, the whole point of me giving you guys this shiur is that when you go home, you'll open up a Gemara, you'll open up a Mishnah, and you'll want to learn. If I don't do that, then I didn't fulfill my purpose here as speaking to you. The whole purpose here is to turn you guys, or at least make you guys want to be B'nai Torah. To get you appreciate. I was in Brooklyn today, by Flatbush, by the Jewish area over there. It's crazy. Every block there is a yeshiva. I was going crazy. Gabriel, every block, and sometimes there were two. You have to grow. You have to aspire to be a Ben Torah. I know it's boring sometimes. And the Torah sometimes can be very, why? Because you have a lot of klipas around you. You got to break that klipa. I want to tell you guys something scary. Scary. The Ari says, whoever goes to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and his heart doesn't melt, he doesn't feel like he's in front of the king. A tear, not that you should cry. The tears have to come out naturally. You have to feel in awe. If it doesn't happen, Nishmatcha lo mushlemet. You didn't do anything in Elul. In Elul, you didn't do the job. You didn't break yourself enough. Why do we wake up early in the morning and do slichot? Those people who do slichot at 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, it's very nice. It's very good. Kol hakavod, at least they're going. But why do we do it early in the morning? To break your yetzer hara. To break your will. You know how the sweetest thing King Solomon says is not sugar, and it's definitely not woman. Sleep. The sweetest thing in this world is sleep. Sleep, shena, tenu shena le'oved. Don't give drink to oved. Don't give food to an oved as a worker. Give him sleep. Let him sleep. Sleep is good. Sleep is delicious. Sleep makes you feel good. You wake up in the morning, if you had a good night of sleep, the Rambam says if you want to sleep, sleep in the beginning of the night. Don't sleep at the second half of the night. The beginning of the night, every hour you sleep is 2 hours. At the end of the night, if you sleep after 1, every hour you sleep is a half an hour. That's why if you go to sleep in the second half of the night, you wake up in the morning, you feel like you didn't sleep.
What's the second half?
The second half from midnight and on. Do you know really, the Rambam says something very, very scary once again. The Rambam says any house that there is no learning of Torah, this is not a Mikubal, this is not the Ari, this is not the Rashash, this is not the Chacham Ovadia, this is not the Mordechai Sharabi, this is the Rambam, the most philosophical, practical Rishon we ever had. He says in the Mishneh Torah, in the Hilchot Talmud Torah, every house that there is no Rina shel Torah. You know what the Rina of Torah is? It doesn't say Limud Torah. Rina means the song of Torah. When you learn Torah, you have to sing it. You have to sing it. When there is no Rina shel Torah, Esh Ochalto. These are the words. You know what Esh Ochalto means? A fire consumes it. The house. You see, guys, what's going on in Greece? Do you know who made that wildfires in Greece? Do you know who made those wildfires in going on in California right now? You know who's making wildfires in Kuwait? In Australia, I heard it's so hot over there. I think it was like 115 degrees the other day. You know what 115 degrees is? You just take the thing outside, you close the door, it cooks it on the thing. It cooks it. Arizona. You know how hot it is? But and I heard in Canada, in this past summer, it was so hot, people were dying outside. You know what the Gemara says when Mashiach comes? It's going to be Gog Magog. You know what Hashem does in Gog Magog? He doesn't need to do anything. The sun has a sheath. A sheath. Did you know that? You know, scientists just figured this out. That the sun, there is like an ozone layer around the sun. If you take out this ozone layer, we're all going to be fried here, going to be cooked in seconds.
Around the world, not the sun.
Also around the sun there is. There's kind of, not an ozone layer, I said like the ozone layer. It basically, it contains the heat that it shouldn't be so high. You know what? Why does Hashem make that? Look what the Chachamim say in the Gemara. In the future, Hashem doesn't need to make war with anybody. This is not Greek mythology with Zeus and Ares, the god of war, and he falls in love with the queen and he makes babies that are Hercules. This is not this. In Judaism, HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs this world. Hashem just needs to do one thing, Michael. He takes the sun out of its sheath and everybody just starts to fry. Zip, 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 like this, like you know, in Sukkot we have that thing inside the sukkah for the mosquitoes, like this, like these people are gonna start frying outside. That's it. You know when Hashem did that? Hashem took that out one day, in the past. Hashem took it out. Do you know when? Let's see who here knows. Talmidei Chachamim. Yes, when Hashem that day when Abraham had the Brit Milah. It says it was so hot. So the Gemara says Hashem hotzi chama min arteka. Hashem took the sun out of the sheath, so nobody would walk outside. It means Abraham, with his Brit Milah, would have went to the ends of the earth just to find a guest. And still, when he saw the Malachim walking outside, he went out inside that heat. Nobody was outside, and he went out. And he brought those guests, and you know what those guests did? When they saw him, they felt so bad. The Malachim, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, they felt so bad for him, they started to walk away. That's why the Torah says, they were walking towards Abraham, then it says Abraham ran after them. Why does he have to run after them if they're walking? Hashem sent them to him, because they felt so bad, they started walking away from him. So he had to run after them. And he was so addicted, Gabriel, so addicted to chesed that he couldn't hold himself, that he needed to do chesed. That's the level we have to get. We have to be addicted to chesed. We have to be addicted to Torah. We have to be addicted. What else should we be addicted to, guys? What else is it worth in this world to be addicted to? What? Tell me what. Tell me one thing. Food? Food? Pool. To be addicted to pool. Exercise. Working out. How much could you work out? How much money could you have? What are you going to do with it? Can I read you guys a Gemara? Let me read you guys a scary Gemara.
Scary.
Look what he says over here. This is one of my favorite Gemaras. My Rebbe did this Gemara with me the day before I got married. Lahavdil, the Goyim go and do Yoke. We sit and learn Torah the day before marriage, because the Gemara says, learn Torah in your youth. Because once you have the yoke on your neck, you can't learn anymore. So the Gemara says, what yoke are you talking about? A wife. Once you have the wife, you can't learn anymore. It's tough. You're not the only one. We're all in the same boat. Okay? Look what the Gemara says. Amar le Shmuel le Rav Yehuda. Shmuel said to Rav Yehuda. You know who Rav Yehuda was? He's the one of the only Amoraim in the Gemara where it says his Torah was his trade. His Torah was his trade. That means he was such a Torah scholar. It was basically, this is his talent. This was his talent. His father was Yecheskel. He was Rav Yehuda bar Yecheskel. He learned Torah under the greats. He opened up the yeshiva in Pumpadita. Not to be confused with the band, Pumpadita. It's not the same thing. He opened up a yeshiva in Pumpadita. I like saying it, Pumpadita. And inside that yeshiva, he raised Rava and Rav Yosef, who in turn raised Abaye and Rava, which started the editing of the Gemara. So basically, Rav Yehuda is the father of the Gemara. His Rebbe was Shmuel and Rav. So in the Gemara, we have a lot of sayings between the two of them, Shmuel and Rav Yehuda. And Shmuel, the Gemara, the Gemara, how you say, it describes how he looks. He was a short man. He was a Kohen. He was very dark skin, and he had teeth like sharp teeth, like a shark, like this. Very weird teeth. You understand? Not such a nice looking human being. Rav Yehuda himself was not the best looking man. He was cross-eyed. When he used to walk out, people used to think, if you speak to somebody who's cross-eyed, lo aleinu, you don't know who he's talking to. Like this he was cross-eyed. This is the man, Rav Yehuda, when there was no rain in the world, all he had to do was take off a shoe.
Wow.
All he had to do was take off a shoe, and it started to pour till the barley was growing as thick as plums, the pieces of the grains. That's how thick they became. All he had to do was take off a shoe. That's what kind of tzaddik he was, Rav Yehuda. So there's a lot of, and Shmuel calls Rav Yehuda Shinina. You know what Shinina means? Shinina means the sharp one.
Sharp?
He was sharp. He was very sharp.
Which Gemara is this?
This is Gemara Eruvin, page 94a. Amar le Shmuel. Shmuel says to Rav Yehuda, Shinina, sharp one. Petach pumach ukrei. When you learn Torah, open your mouth. Don't read with the eyes. Open your mouth. When you learn Torah, you have to open your mouth. Move your lips. When you come to the Mishnayot Shiur, look inside. Open your mouth. You learn Gemara, open your mouth. Petach pumach betanei. Open your mouth and study out loud. Guys, the Gemara says to learn Torah and to remember the Torah, you have to learn out loud. Ki heichi de titkayem bach. Shmuel is teaching us the lesson how to remember your Torah. You have to say it with your mouth, and you have to say it out loud. So you will remember your Torah, it will retain with you. V'torich chayei. Look what the Shmuel is telling the Rav Yehuda. Crazy. He says, so you should, that's what he says, you should learn, you should remember it, I got you. Makes sense, right? If I learn out loud, I'll remember it, right? Then he says, v'torich chayei, and your life will be lengthened. If you learn Torah to yourself, your mouth is closed, you don't say it out loud, your life won't be lengthened. But if you learn Torah out loud, automatically Hashem adds time to your life. Hashem adds days, months, seconds, years. That means when we're going to Rosh Hashanah, if you want one sigula, hadabib zoche badin, what do you have to do? Accept upon yourself the yoke of Torah. I'm going to read you a Pirkei Avot now. You guys are going to love it. The Torah says ki chayim hem. Why? The Torah says the Torah is chayim. It's life. Lemotzaehem, to all who find them. Ulechol besaro, and it's a cure for your flesh. Now I'm going to read you a Gemara. What does that mean? It's a cure for your flesh. Al tikre lemotzaehem. Torah is not. Don't say a Torah is life to one who finds them, one who finds Torah. Say lemotziehem. Torah is life to the ones who take it out of the mouth. That means whoever takes it out, whoever opens his mouth and learns and reads out loud, life, Torah, adds life. It adds life to you. Amar le Shmuel le Rav Yehuda. Shmuel says to Rav Yehuda, Shinena. This is one of my favorite lines in the Gemara. Sharp one. Chatov ve'echol. Take and eat. Chatov ve'ishtei. Grab and drink. Da'alma azlilan mineh. Because this world passes by really quick. This world is like a big wedding. From the second your soul comes down, you got an invitation to join this world. When you come into this world, don't waste your time. Chatov ve'echol, chatov ve'eshtei. Don't waste your time every second. Rabbi Victor Miller says like this. Imagine you have an invitation to go to the bank. And in the bank, when you go in, they give you 5 minutes to grab all the diamonds and jewels that you have time. Are you going to stand there saying, maybe I should get how is the gold in the stock right now? Maybe I should get the silver instead. Maybe dollars, that was going Bitcoin. Maybe I should forget about that. You have to go inside there. I have 5 minutes. Chatov, take as much as you can. Then because 5 minutes later, the guy is going to take you from the back and he's going to be you're going to, no, give me 2 more seconds. Rabbi Victor Miller says like this, all those people are crazy. Why? He says, how come Talmidei Chachamim don't enjoy this world? He says, of course not. When you're in this world, you're grabbing the money. When are you going to spend it? In the next world. You're not meaning to spend it over here. You want to spend your money over here? That means you have nothing to spend over there. And those Talmidei Chachamim who do have the osher, they have parnasa and this, that means they have so much bracha, they took so much, they already have to get the thing down here. Like we say it every morning. Unfortunately, people skip it in tefillah. In the Torah, every morning we say this in korbanot. There are some mitzvot, we eat the fruits in this world, and the principle is over there. What are they? Bikur cholim. When you visit the sick. That means when you visit the sick, you get $100. $10 you spend over here, and 90 you keep over there. When you keep Shabbat, by the way, you don't spend anything over here. Shabbat is not on the list. Shabbat, everything is over there. Yom Kippur, everything over there. Lulav and Etrog, everything over there. Bikur cholim. Hachnasad orchim. What's hachnasad orchim? Inviting guests to your house. What after Bikur cholim? Hashkamat bet HaKnesset. Waking up to go to shul every morning. What's the sachar you get in this world? Hashkamat bet HaKnesset. The tefillah itself you get. In the next world, the fact that you walk to shul, the schar psiot you get in this world. Hava'at shalom ben adam lechavero. If you make peace between two friends. You make shalomi, they say in Bukhari. Shalomi. Or ben ish liishto. If you make shalom bait between a man and a woman. You eat that in this world. The fruits, the principle you get over there. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam. But Talmud Torah, Rabbi is like keneged kulam. Don't you want to have extra time in this world to take chatov ve'echot? Don't you want to have extra moment to get another 5 diamonds, another 10 diamonds, another 20 diamonds? Don't you want another 5-10 minutes? Learn Torah, chatov ve'echot, between customers, between frying, between releasing the schnitzel, read another piece of Perkei Avot. Between this, read another Tehillim. A person who reads Tehillim, by the way, it's like he's learning halachot nigaim ve'aholot, the hardest halachot. David HaMelech already said, chatov ve'echot. Take as much. Look what he says next. Amar le Rav Hamnuna. This is for all those people who think they're going to be rich and save everything for their kids. Rav said to Rav Hamnuna. You know what Hamnuna means in Aramaic? What does Hamnuna mean? Take a guess. No, Hamnuna. What is Hamnuna? Come on, guys. What's a Hamnuna? A fish. Okay? It comes from the word Nuna. Nune Yama. It's fish. Rav Hamnuna, the rabbi of the fish. Alright? They used to name their kids fish, so there should be no ayin hara on it. Rav said to Rav Hamnuna, Bini, im yesh lecha, you have money in the bank? Hetev lecha, spend it right now. Don't save it. She'en bish'ol ta'anug, because when you go 6 feet under, there's no enjoyment. Ve'en lamavid ma'amea, and death, there is no delay. Chas shalom, person could go to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and before he knows it, he went over there for a celebration, he comes outside in a body bag. There's no delay. 3 buddies went to Ukraine, they went to Kivrei Tzadikim, they came back in a body bag. My student, that kid, that we say for his Refuah Shlema, Baruch Hai ben Irina Yehudi, Hashem to send him a Refuah Shlema. He went outside with his bike, he's a paramedic. He himself goes and saves people's lives. He took a wrong turn, he went straight into a car, now he's 6 months in the hospital. But Baruch Hashem, he got saved. Remember what happened 4 or 5 months ago? You guys already forgot. 2 kids came off the bus in Benzonhurst, and they were a thing. Sometimes you go, death, there is no delay. Chatov ve'echol. You have right now, spend. Not to Hawaii. Spend on what really matters. Ve'im tomar, and if you're gonna say, says the Gemara, aniach lebanai lechok. Oh, you know why I'm saving the money? I'm leaving it for my kids. Inheritance. Ay. How much inheritance breaks families? How much inheritance destroys relationships? How much inheritance makes balagan for people in their life? I know specifically. How much inheritance we're leaving? Inheritance. Like hyenas, on a carcass? Like hyenas? Like this. When a rich man dies, you think his kids care about he cares about how much the house is worth right now in the real estate. When his kids check. You think they're worried about to make kaddish for him, to make this for him, to make that for him? You think they worry about that? If he has 2 houses, forget about it. 3, business? If he's a CEO, out of here. When you're in the grave, says Rav Amnuna, who's going to let you know? Who's going to tell you where they retain the wealth? You think when you're in the grave, the malachim are going to be like, today your kids really had fun in your house. They really thanked you. You're not going to know what they did with your wealth. And look what he says. Look what the Gemara says. Bnei ha'adam domim le'isbei asadeh. Human beings are like grass, Gabriel. Do you know what grass is? Do you know no, not that kind of grass. Why is human beings, they have the mashal to grass, Gabriel? Grass, no matter how much you mow the lawn, what happens to the grass? It grows right back. Halalu notzetzin v'halalu novlin. Do you know the Gemara just said your parnasa grows with you? Did you just hear what I said? You're like grass. Your parnasa is like grass. Your parnasa grows with you. What does the Gemara mean when they say your parnasa grows with you? You think you're leaving your kids all the inheritance, so you don't know what's gonna happen with that. They don't need your inheritance. Their parnasa is already set for them. How they're gonna get it? Hakadosh Baruch Hu is gonna give it to them. You know how many times when I got married, my parents, God bless them, they didn't have the means. They didn't give me money for an apartment, this, that. I lived in their basement. And it's half a studio. Half a studio. Baruch Hashem, today, from the basement, you grow up, you get something of your own. Who would have believed? Kids who their parents give them everything, 10 years later, they're still zero. When you see this Gemara, you have to open up your mind and say, what am I leaving to Rish Lakish when he passed away? It's also Gemara in Yerui. Rish Lakish, you know who he was? He was a gladiator when he was younger. A gladiator. That's how he used to earn bread. 15 years old. He was a gladiator for hire, for entertainer. When Rabbi Yochanan found him, he turned him into a Talmid Chacham.
He was a gangster, no?
Victor Miller says it's a common misconception. He says he wasn't a gangster. What do you think? He's like walking around with shades, with a couple of guns over here. He was a gladiator. He was a fighter. You understand? So that's what Rav Victor Miller says. That's his opinion. He says Victor Miller, Rish Lakish, when he passed away, the Gemara says he asked his daughter, how did he die? You know how he died. His brother-in-law, which was his chavruta, had kapeda on him. He looked at him the wrong way. Basically, he hurt his feelings. Rabbi Yochanan was the Rosh Yeshiva. And basically, Rish Lakish told him something in halakha which hurt Rabbi Yochanan's feelings. And Rabbi Yochanan's like, how could you talk to me like that? I brought you under the wings of the Shekhinah. I gave you life. So Rish Lakish says, you gave me nothing. When I'm over here, I'm the biggest Torah scholar. When I was a gladiator, I was the biggest thing. Over here, I'm a king, and over there, I was a king. You gave me nothing. Wow. He said that to Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan didn't answer him back, but he had kapeda on him. He hurt him, and he got sick, Rish Lakish, and he died. And before he died, he asked his daughter, could you please show me what's left of my assets? She shows him. He had nothing left except for a jar of spices. A jar of spices. And the Gemara says he started to sigh, and he said, even this is too much. Even this I'm leaving, it's too much. Even this I should have spent. Cook! Go make something right now. Waste all this for. He didn't say that, but get the point? What, you think you're going to be there in the grave? You're going to think... By the way, the Zohar says you don't know what's going on with your descendants in this world. You have no idea what's going on. Why do we daven in people's graves? Why do we go? The Zohar says, why do we have to go there? If they already know, they know. Why do we go to their grave and daven for them? To them? The Zohar says to let them know what's going on with us. They don't have time for us down here. They're busy spending the cash. They're spending over there. Or, unfortunately, paying for what they did. unfortunately. But if not, they're spending. They don't have time for you. It's just a common misconception. We've been beat inside our communist minds from Russia, Stalinist Russia, that we have to amass, die, and leave everything for the next generation. But the Gemara, you believe the Gemara? It's telling us over here the advice. How to live your life contrary to that. Chatov ve'echol, enjoy your life. Buy yourself the Hugo Boss suit. But check it for shatnez. Check it for shatnez. Buy yourself the nice... Why not? You made it. You earned it. Buy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy it. Rabbi Victor Miller says every person should have a house. Every person should own a house. It should be a goal in life. Why not? You live in this world. Enjoy. Have your own place. Enjoy your life. Now I'm going to get to the Gemara, which I really wanted to get. This was all leading up to the Gemara, which I really wanted to get to. Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi says, listen. Hamehalech baderech, one who travels on the road. Ve'en imo levaya, and there's nobody escorting him. He has no company. Nobody's with him. It's a sakana. What should he do? Ya'asok b'Torah. You should study Torah. What happens when you study Torah on the way? Automatically, the Shekhinah, God is with you. Not in a hidden state. In a revealed state. In a revealed state. When you're walking around. You know, they say, when a person goes to the bathroom, he can't think of Torah. What are you supposed to think about in the bathroom? Math? What are you, the Vilna Gaon? You're going to make Kramer's Law over there? I don't want to think about math. Victor Miller said Bitcoin. I was by some lawyer and he was like, oh yeah, you guys are investing Bitcoin. I'm like, enough with this Bitcoin already. Leave me alone. I said, you know what to speak in the bathroom? You could think of Hashem in the bathroom. You can't think of Torah, but you could think of God. When you're in the bathroom, you know what kind of miracle happens until your intestines releases all that bile? You could think of God, but you can't think of Torah. You have to think, as you're using that, wow, what just happened in me was like a nuclear bomb. Sometimes literally. Thank you, Hashem, that I was letting go of all that waste. Baruch Hashem. Do you know how many people they suffer they can't release? Yes. Do you know some people they just release? You know, today I'm potty training my kid. She's off from the camp, so I'm potty training her. Oh, you remember those days? How the mess all over the house. They go on this side and on that side. And I'm running after them like a maid, cleaning up after them. And Baruch Hashem, they can't hold themselves. You could hold yourself. Did you ever think of that? You know you're supposed to think of that every time you say Asher Yatzar? But do we? It's natural. It's not natural. When you're going to get to 70 years old, then you're going to say, I should have said Asher Yatzar with more kavanah. You know the Khatam Sofer had a catheter. He couldn't have used the Khatam Sofer. He had a catheter. And we're better than the Khatam Sofer. He was the Rosh Yeshiva of Hungary, Rosh Yeshiva of the world. Look what the Gemara says. Chash berosho, if you have a headache, what should you do? Take what? Advil, right? Aspirin? No. Chash berosho, you feel pain in your head? Ya'asok b'Torah. Chash bigrono, you think you're getting a strep? Don't take antibiotics. Don't take antibiotics. But remember, Ya'asok b'Torah. Learn Torah. Chash b'me'av, you have problems with your intestines? Ya'asok b'Torah. Chash be'atzmotav, you have problems with your bones. Arthritis? Ya'asok b'Torah. Chash b'kliotav, you have problems with your kidneys? Ya'asok b'Torah. Chash belibo, you have problems with the heart. It's the Gemara. Ya'asok b'Torah. The Gemara is not giving us. What, you think the Gemara is trying to brainwash us over here? We're the last nation to be brainwashed. The last. We're the stubborn nation. To convince us we're stubborn. We fight. We fight for the truth. Why did God give us the Torah? You know why? Because every other nation, all they needed was one chamor that came on another chamor that said he came down from heaven with a winged donkey, and he said that God spoke to me. What's your name? Muhammad. Suddenly, everyone believes him. By us, we want to see it with our own eyes. You think God gave us the Torah. You know what he said the next day to us? Divorce your wives. Some of them were married to their aunts. Some of them were married to their half-sisters. Some of them were married to their, basically asurim. Some of them were married to their, let's say, their father's wife. The father died, he left the wife, they were married to them. All this asur. Suddenly Moshe Rabbeinu comes the next day, they just got the Torah. Guys, yes, Rebbe, I have a present for you guys in my bag. What's up? Divorce documents. For whom? For you. What? That's why they fought with him, you know that? The next day they fought. We don't want to get divorced. But did they listen to him?
Yes.
Why? They just spoke to God. Imagine I come to you and I say to you, a new mitzvah. You have to take a wool and you have to tie it 39 times. And if you go to the city with this, my brother went to a school to learn CAD CAM. So he went was wearing one of those breastloaf kippahs. He put his tzitzit out. He had a beard, and the people said, "Oh, you're a hippie. You're this. You're that. You're so cool." They don't know Goyim. But imagine you go to a person back in the day, and you say you had to take a 4-corner garment, and you have to tie 39. Ashkenazim do 26, by the way, and you got to tie it, and then it has to be a certain way: 7, 8, 9, 11, and 13. 7, 8, 11, 13. Why? Why can't I do 6, 3, 4, and 20? Why does it be 7, 8, 11, 13? And if I miss, and by the way, if it's one of the strings is cut too much, it's pasul. Why? And by the way, once a year you have to go to the forest, take a citrus fruit, take a palm tree branch. Think about it. It sounds so absurd. Take myrtle leaves and willow branches, and you have to tie them together, because if you don't, you didn't do the mitzvah. And you have to put it together and start shaking it to the 4 corners of the world. And what are you talking about, Moshe? Are you insane? Did they do it? Why?
They saw Hashem.
They saw Hashem. V'yaminu b'Hashem Moshe avdo. V'yaminu b'Hashem. They saw it. It was real. They knew it was real. What did they do for 40 years in the desert? There was no Netflix. There was no Amazon Prime. There was no Las Vegas. There was no, what's that other place called? No, Mashpara. What's his name? Atlantic City. There was no this, no that. Where did they go?
It was Man Prime.
Can I tell you something? They know they didn't really like the man. Can I be honest with you? They didn't really like it. They had the same piece of bread for 40 years. Trust me. And you know what? They had enough to eat what they needed. Let's say you were a big guy. You want to eat. No, that's all you need. You need 2 loaves of man today. That's all you're going to get. Diet. Natural diet. Natural diet. But I want to eat more. So trust me, it wasn't that easy. You know why Hashem did that to them? To break them. That's why before we got into Israel, how much does Moshe warn us? You're going to a land of milk and honey. You know what it means, milk and honey? You say to a Amar, it's like, where's the milk and where's the honey? You know what milk and honey means? First of all, it's not the honey of bees. It's date honey. There was a lot of date trees in Eretz Israel, and the honey, it was such thick dates, the honey used to ooze from the trees, and then the sheep, their udders were so big, and the goats, that the milk used to there was not enough people to milk the sheep and the cows and the goats, and the milk used to ooze with the honey under the trees, and it used to flow. That's what it means, land flowing of milk and honey. That's what kind of richness was over there. Till the time of the Gemara, it was still like that over there, land flowing of milk and honey. Did you know that? It stopped during time of the Gemara when the Roman Caesar, Constantine, Yamach Shemo B'Zichro, the Kritmat guy, he came and he destroyed the last yeshivot in Eretz Israel. There was no Jews over there at all. Who lived in Eretz Israel? Greeks. You know Caesarea, that city, Caesarea? You know who built Caesarea? Herod built it. Why did he build it? He named it after the Caesar. He wanted to make it a Greek country. And people run to Caesarea, it's the place, one of the biggest kalipot was over there. All the Avodah Zarah was over there. I want to read you one last Gemara and we'll call it a night. A lot we said today. I want to read you one Gemara, take this with you to Chodesh Elul. I want to tell you something from Avsrai the Beletsky, and one Pirkei Avot. Where is the Sidur over here? Amar Rav Yehuda. Once again, who do we have here? Rav Yehuda. Shelosha devarim mekatzrin yemei shnotav shel adam. 3 things make you live a short life. Mi shenotnim lo sefer Torah likrot ve'eno koreh. A person who they invite him to a shiur Torah, or they call him up to the Torah and they say learn, and he says no, it's not for me. If learning Torah out loud makes your life longer, rejecting it shortens your life. Number 2, kos shel bracha levarech ve'eno mevarech. You're in a house, there's 3 men benching. The host says, could you please do kos shel bracha? You say, no, I don't want to. Why does that make a person's life shorter? Because God told Abraham, who blesses you shall be blessed. So what are you doing when you bless the wine in the house? You're blessing the host. You don't want to bless the host, so you don't get a blessing back. And number 3, listen to this very carefully, guys. Hamanhig atzmo berabanut. Who wants to be a boss? A person wants to be a boss. Get ready for shorter days, shorter life.
Wow.
If a person doesn't want to be, if a person wants a long life, remember. Shetika. Siyag lechokhma. Shetika. What is chokhma? HaChokhma techaye ba'aleya. Chokhma makes a person's life longer. One last thing, and we'll call it a night from Perkei Avot, Perek Gimel, Mishnah Vav. This is very important to say in Elul. This is the Avodah of Elul. More Torah, more Torah. Rav Sarai de Beletsky says, was the biggest Mikubal. He passed away a year ago. He said like this: a person, when he wakes up in the morning, after Modeh Ani, this is from the Gra, you should say, behold, I take upon myself the yoke of Torah. Every morning you have to say that. Behold, I take upon myself the yoke of Torah. You should have a goal in your life this coming year. Take upon yourself 1 Mishnah, 1 Gemara. No matter what, you have to finish this book. And remember it. And remember it. I want to read you guys 1 Mishnah over here. Rabbi Nichunya ben Akana Omer. You know Rabbi Nichunya ben Akana Omer? Jewish trivia. What did he write that we say every day? You gotta say it. Tehillim, this, that, what? What did Rabbi Nichunya ben Akana write? He wrote a tefillah. We say it every morning. Is it Mekuman? No, that's a Mishnayot. That's Yehuda ben Tema. No.
What's the name?
Come on, guys.
What's the name?
Rabbi Nichunya ben Akana. That's Yoshua ben Nunero. Come on. Why you jumping the centuries? He wrote Ana Bekoach. Ana Bekoach he wrote. He was the Mikubal before Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Nichunya ben Akana. He was before Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Before Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Nichunya ben Akana writes like this inside Pirkei Avot. Kol ha-mekabel. Remember this because you're going to Elul right now. You want to have a sweet new year. Look what Rabbi Nichunya ben Akana, look at the advice he gives us. Kol ha-mekabel alav ol Torah. Whoever accepts upon themselves the yoke of Torah. If you cannot learn, support it. If you can't support it, learn it. One or the other. There's no other options. If you have kids, send them to the best yeshivot. Not to the worst yeshivot. Not to the yeshiva where they're going to come exposed with all the garbage. Send them to the best places with the best rabbis. Talk to your son's rabbi. Be involved in his Torah life. Learn with him every day. They take away from him all malchut, the yoke of government, the yoke of taxes, schmaxes, malchut, the all derech eretz, and they take away from him the yoke of derech eretz, parnasa, tzar gidul banim, all the stuff that people want to run away from. If you take upon yourself the yoke of Torah, they take away those 2 yokes. But if you want, though, if you don't take upon yourself all Torah, haporek al mimenu all Torah, one who takes away the Torah from him. I don't want the Torah. I want to be like everyone else, like all the goyim, ki goyei haaretz. Notnim alav all malchut v'all derech eretz. They give him all the other yokes of malchut and derech eretz. We will be zocheh this year to accept upon atzmeinu all Torah, to make our Torah more, to learn more Gemara, Mishnah, Zohar, Torah, Nevi'im, V'Ketuvim, we zocheh lechol me'ed me'itav, Baruch Adonai le'olam, Amen, Amen.